Today is Tuesday, April 4th, 2017. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Casabon, Mr. Lauren, Mr. Richardson, Mr. Richard, Mr. Willie, Mr. Davis, Ms. Fitzmaurice, Mr. Doherty, Mr. Drum, Mr. Randolph. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, we would respectfully ask that you silence all phones and electronic devices. If you wish to appeal any recommendation of this commission, appeals cards are to our right. If you wish to speak in front of the commission, we would ask that you fill out a speaker's card so we have your name and address for the record. Each side will be provided 10 minutes to present their case with 5 minutes of rebuttal. And lastly, at the end of every case, we would ask that you exit the building, especially if you would like to discuss further, because if you go into the back foyer area, it does echo into the chamber. This time, we would ask you to stand with an invocation by Commissioner Randolph, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Richard.
Gracious Father, once again, we come to you with bowed down heads and lifted hearts to say thank you for allowing your grace and mercy to be ever present in all of our lives as you watched over and protected us all this day throughout the bad weather yesterday. And Lord, we thank you for this day right now. We thank you for all the commissioners. We thank you for those that's in the audience and the other residents that we serve. Bless our government. Help us to make decisions that's in the best interest of all. Give us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding we need to do that. And Lord, we ask that you also bless us with that same grace and mercy as the anticipated weather conditions change tonight and tomorrow. In all these blessings we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you. In our package are the minutes for the March 7th, 2017 zoning meeting. There is a typo on the agenda. Again, in our package of the minutes from the March 7th, 2017 zoning meeting. I'll entertain any motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Randolph to approve, second by Commissioner Dougherty. Any further questions? Please vote. Motion carries. Staff, are there any cases that you'd like to come forward for postponing?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Number 1 on the agenda, 2016-522, and it's a request to postpone for 2 months until June. Number 2 on the agenda, 2016-523. Number 3.
Excuse me, is that just 1 month or 2?
Number 2 is for 1 month.
1 month. Okay,
Only the first one is for 2 months.
thank you.
Number 3, 2016-524. Number 4, ZC 06-02011. Number 10, 2017-568. Number 15, 2017-582. And number 16, 2017-583.
Thank you.
And we have representative for each of those cases here in the audience.
All right, which is our procedure. We will read these into the record and move them to the front of the agenda. And zoning change request cases, applications for proposed change of zoning district or amendments to the land use ordinance requiring review and recommendation of approval by the Zoning Commission before action by the Parish Council are as follows. 2016-522-ZC, existing zoning, A2 Suburban District. Proposed zoning, HC2 Highway Commercial District. The parcel, 1.93 acres. The petitioner, Telus Management, Rebecca Rostrup. The owner, Earl and Mary Dufresne, Julio and Ann Arana. The parcel is located on the south side of Parker Drive, west of Louisiana Highway 59, Ward 3, District 5. Request is to postpone until June 2017. Staff, any further comments?
No, Mr. Chairman, but we have someone here who would like to address
Is
the
the
commission.
petitioner here or a representative of the petitioner? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. We're just still working with the
If you would
neighbors.
state your name and address for the record, please.
Rebecca Rostrup, 3208 North 6th Street, Ocean Springs, Mississippi. So we're just requesting an additional 60-day extension to continue working with the neighbors
Okay,
on the project.
thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of the postponement? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Davis.
Motion to postpone.
Until June? Until June.
Until June. 2 months.
Motion by Commissioner Davis to postpone until June. Second by Commissioner Dougherty. Any further comments? Please vote. Motion carries. 2016-523-ZC, existing zoning, a plan unit development overlay. Proposed zoning, A4A, single-family residential district, A5, two-family residential district, A8, multiple-family residential district, and HC2, highway commercial district. The parcel is 157.31 acres. The petitioner, 285 LLC, Richard Murphy. The owner, 285 LLC, Richard Murphy. The parcel is located on the east side of Louisiana Highway 1077, north of U.S. Highway 190, Ward 1, District 3. This was postponed from the March 7th, 2017 meeting. Mr. Marone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul Marone on behalf of the petitioners for item number 2 on your agenda. You'll recall this matter's come before you twice before. This is our third request to table it. We are optimistic and hopeful that we'll be in a position to move forward in May. We had a meeting several weeks ago with Councilman Thompson as well as Dr. Martin with the Good Bee Civic Association. That meeting was productive. We are working on some of the issues that came out of that meeting, and we hope that that will give rise to perhaps some modifications to the plan that will allow us to move forward in May. So we would respectfully request tabling of item 2 and all of the companion cases, which are items 3 and 4 and 6 and 7. I don't believe Ms. Lambert, when she mentioned earlier, we would ask that 6 and 7 also be tabled.
So, Mr. Marone, again, that's 3. This particular case is on our agenda. 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. Okay. We will vote on them, Commissioner Richard. We will vote on them individually. Mr. Marone, any further
Yes.
comment?
No further comments. We just respectfully request tabling of each of those cases until your next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the postponement? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Now, just for clarity, because the commission asked earlier, first, this is zoning, not planning. Therefore, the fact that we are now going potentially, till the commission votes, 3 successive postponements potentially, we are permitted to do that in zoning, unlike planning for the final plat where we would have to take it to the commission for a vote. Again, that is for planning, not for zoning. Secondly, our protocol is that we will read each one of these into the record. Each of the cases will be voted on individually by the commission. So just to clarify that. So again, the first one we have is the case of 2016-523-ZC. No one else in the public wishes to speak on that. I will then close it to the public and I will bring it to the commission. Commissioner Willie.
Yes, move to postpone on item 2.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Willie to postpone 2016-523-ZC, second by Commissioner Randolph. That postponement will be for 1 month and until May 2017. Any further comments? Please vote. Motion carries. 2016-524-ZC, existing zoning, plan unit development overlay, proposed zoning, A4A Single Family Residential District, A5 Two Family Residential District, A8 Multiple Family Residential District, and HC2 Highway Commercial District and Plan Unit Development Overlay. The parcel, 157.31 acres. The petitioner, 285 LLC, Richard Murphy. The owner, 285 LLC, Richard Murphy. The parcel is located on the east side of Louisiana Highway 1077, north of U.S. Highway 190, Ward 1, District 3. Request to postpone. Mr. Marone, any further comment? Seeing none, is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the postponement? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Dougherty.
Move to postpone 1 month.
A second.
Motion by Commissioner Dougherty to postpone for 1 month, second by Commissioner Willie. Any further comments? Please vote. Motion carries. Zoning case number ZC 06-02-011, a major amendment to a plan unit development overlay, Ward 1, District 3. The parcel is located on the east and west side of Louisiana Highway 1077, north of U.S. Highway 190. Parcel is 122.93 acres. The petitioner, 285 LLC, Richard Murphy. The owner, 285 LLC, Richard Murphy. This was postponed from the March 7th, 2017 meeting. Again, Mr. Marone, any further comment? Any else in the public who wishes to speak in favor? Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Willie.
Yes, item 4, I move to postpone.
Motion by Commissioner Willie to postpone for 1 month. Second by Commissioner Davis. Any further comment? Hearing none, please vote. Motion carries.
I was just informed by Mr. Marone that he would also like to request postponing case number 6, 2017-561, and 2017-562.
Thank you. Zoning case 2017-561-ZC, existing zoning, plan unit development overlay, proposed zoning, A1, suburban district, parcels 3 acres. The petitioner, Kyle Associates LLC, Franklin Kyle. The owner, 285 LLC, Richard Murphy. The parcel is located on Louisiana Highway 1077, identified as surface servitude site number 1, Ward 1, District 3. Request for postponement for 1 month. Again, Mr. Marone, any comment? Anyone from the public wishes to speak in favor of the postponement? Anyone in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Willie.
Again, item 6, I move to postpone for 1 month, please.
Motion by Commissioner Willie to postpone for 1 month. Second by Commissioner Richard. Any further comment? Please vote. Motion carries. 2017-562-ZC, existing zoning, plan unit development overlay. Proposed zoning, A1, single-family residential. The parcel, 3 acres. The petitioner, Kyle Associates, Franklin Kyle. The owner, 285 LLC, Richard Murphy. The parcel is located on the east of Louisiana Highway 1077, identified as surface servitude site number 3, Ward 1, District 3. Again, Mr. Marone? Anyone else in the public wishes to speak in favor of the postponement? Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Willie.
Again, item 7, I move to postpone for 1 month.
Motion by Commissioner Willie to postpone for 1 month, second by Commissioner Dougherty. Any further comments? Please vote. Motion carries. Case 2017-568-ZC, existing zoning A4A, single-family residential district, proposed zoning HC3 highway commercial district, the parcel 1 acre, the petitioner Joe Malone, the owner Indian Village 2 LLC, Joe Malone. The parcel is located on the west side of US Highway 190 East, north of Woodhaven Drive, south of Indian Village Road, Ward 8, District 13. Staff?
Mr. Jeff Shane is here to represent the petitioner and the owner.
Thank you. Request for postponement, Mr. Shane.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jeff Shane of the Jones Fussell Law Firm at P.O. Box 1810 in Covington. I have been retained to represent the owner and petitioner in this matter. Only this morning, I'm still learning about the case and would appreciate the opportunity to study the case and meet with my clients. A postponement until the May agenda would be appropriate. And if the commission sees fit to postpone, I would ask the chair to sound the room to see if there are any parties here tonight of interest, so that perhaps we can exchange cards and contacts and have communication with them between now and your May meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Shane. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the postponement? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Would also ask, as Mr. Shane has requested, is there anyone who has interest in this case? If you'd please identify yourself to Mr. Shane, as his client requests that they do have a communication with you and work out whatever issues or concerns there might be, which oftentimes this commission will conduct a community meeting for some cases, but in case of Mr. Shane and his client, they would like to do it prior. Thank you. This time, we would close it to the public and bring it to the commission. Commissioner Dougherty.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to postpone 1 month.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dougherty to postpone for 1 month, second by Commissioner Randolph. Any further comments? Please vote. Motion carries. Zoning case 2017-582-ZC, existing zoning A6, multifamily residential district, A2 suburban district, and CB1 community-based facilities district. Proposed zoning A4 single-family residential district, the parcel 15.503 acres. The petitioner Frank H. Walk Jr., the owner Frank H. Walk Jr. The parcel is located on the west side and at the end of Marina Boulevard, north of Mako Drive, Ward 4, District 4. Staff has recommended postponement through the petitioner for 1 month.
Yes, Mr. Sean Burks is here to represent
Thank
the
you.
owner.
Mr. Burks.
Yes, I'm Sean Burks representing the owner, and we're just requesting the tables for this case, number 15 and 16, so that we have time to address comments.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the postponement? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the postponement? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Randolph.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone item 15 until May meeting.
Motion by Commissioner Randolph to postpone for 1 month. Second by Commissioner Richard. Any further comments? Please vote. Motion for postponement carries. 2017-583-ZC, existing zoning A4 single-family residential district. Proposed zoning, plan unit development overlay, the parcel 15.503 acres. The petitioner, Frank H. Walk Jr., the owner, Frank H. Walk Jr. parcels located on the west side and at the end of Marina Boulevard, north of Naco Drive, Ward 4, District 4. Petitioner recommends postponement for 1 month. Mr. Burks, any further comment? Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to postponement? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Randolph.
Motion to postpone item 16 for 1 month, our next month's meeting.
Motion by Commissioner Randolph to postpone for 1 month, second by Commissioner Willie. Any further comment? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries. I think is that all for postponement? Helen? Is that it? Good. Thank you. We'll just pause for a moment while several members of the public exit. Yes, ma'am. We're ready to reconvene. We're going to go to item 5 on your agenda. Case is 2017-543-ZC, existing zoning, NC2 Indoor Retail and Service District. Proposed zoning, HC2 Highway Commercial District. The parcel, 1 acre. The petitioner, Jack Hopper. The owner, Craig Guidry. Parcel is located on the southwest corner of Forest Drive and Park Drive, Ward 4, District 10. This was postponed from the March 7th, 2017 meeting. Staff?
This is a request for rezoning to HC2 to develop the site with a vet clinic and a commercial kennel. As y'all know, we had a community meeting, and the owner is coming forward today with the, a request for HC2. However, after discussion, he is proposing to maybe amend his request to ask for maybe a little less of what he originally asked, and I'm going to let, which staff is in favor of, and I'm going to let the owner express his request.
Thank you.
Craig Guidry. And 2 weeks ago, we had a community meeting to kind of get everybody's concerns on the table, and I thought it was a productive meeting, and I was able to listen to the residents and hear what their concerns were. So I went back and just looked at everything that we have and tried to see if there was a way I could address their concerns and also potentially get what I was looking at into my needs. And I came up with some assistance from a few folks, and I think the proposal that we came up with, I think, is a fair one and addresses all their concerns to the best that we can. What we're going to try to do is maybe re-subdivide the property and create a back lot that is going to maintain an NC2 zoning, and I will put my facility all in the front lot on the highway commercial zoning, and all we're asking is that the zone reflect the lot line so that they maintain a buffer of a neighborhood commercial on that back lot, and then my facility will remain on the front lot. And so tried to address all their concerns and hope it's a fair compromise that works for everybody.
So, Mr. Guidry, just for clarity's sake, the request is to go to an HC2 on your petition. Is that correct? You're talking about an NC2 for staff?
The lot currently is partial NC2 and partial HC2. And what I'm asking to do is that we will redivide the lot into 2 lots and create one NC2 lot that abuts the Forest Park subdivision, and the HC2 lot will be the lot that is serviced by the service road.
Basically, if I may, Mr. Chairman, is the petitioner here and the owner is requesting to keep approximately 100 by 223 lot in the rear of the property, which would be on the corner of Park Drive and Forest Drive, that would remain zone NC2. However, he's requesting to move the line a little further east. He needs to add approximately, I measured it approximately maybe between 30 and 50 feet of HC2 to make his site plan work. If you're looking at the site plan right now, this site plan has not been approved. It has not been formally reviewed, and this is not the approval of the site plan. We're just giving you here an idea of what he's requesting.
Very preliminary site
And
plan.
he will have to come back with a full legal description and a new survey of the property, but this is basically what it would look like. There would be a remaining parcel in the rear that will remain NC2, and it would be 100, or approximately 100 by 223.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Guidry.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Yes, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. If you come to the podium, state your name and address the commission.
Dr. Guidry's dilemma.
Your name and address, sir.
Mark, M-A-R-K, Jolisaint, J-O-L-I-S-S-A-I-N-T. I reside in Forest Park. So this affects me directly as it does my neighbors. I understand Dr. Guidry's dilemma. I appreciate it, but I think the reality is every piece of property is not suitable for every type of development. And we understand in the subdivision that the back lot is neighborhood commercial. And we want to keep it that way because right on the other side of this little street called Park Drive, people's homes are located. Okay, and if you, in effect, re-subdivide this so that 30 feet or 50 feet or whatever it may be from the back half of this lot is subdivided and zoned HC commercial, we're still going to have the very problem we complained about when we came to the community meeting. And that was, we don't want a neighbor of ours who's living on the corner, or the neighbor living next to him, or the neighbor living next to him, how are you doing, by the way, in a situation where they have to live in such close proximity with what we've been told, and I don't know how many dog kennels these add up to be, but I think it's at least 50 dog kennels with an outside dog area. And these things, if you take a look at it, are actually going to be largely located on the parcel that is presently zoned neighborhood commercial. Now, there was some wisdom when the zoning on this piece was created in the first place, because the people who zoned that back half neighborhood commercial realized that people were living back there, that what occurred on that lot would ultimately have an impact on the quality of their lives. And I would suggest to you, if dog kennels are placed on any part, frankly, and I understand they could put a small vet clinic with 20 kennels, I think that's what we were told at the neighborhood meeting, but that's not what this is. This is zoning creep as far as what I'm seeing here and the way I interpret this. And it's a means by which somebody can come in here and put on this property something that's going to adversely affect the neighbors in Forest Park, affect their quality of life adversely, and we're being asked to accept it as if this is some kind of minimal change in his proposal that should solve the problems, and it simply doesn't solve the problems. Perhaps, and I can't tell Dr. Guidry what to do, but perhaps if he took all of these kennels and all of this dog walking yard and he put it up on the I-10 service road, So he created as much distance between the kennels and the dog walking yard and the neighborhood as possible. I mean, something like that might work, and we might not even be able to stop it, because at that point, he would be in compliance, I think, with highway commercial zoning. But this is just another way of saying, I want to put highway commercial stuff on a neighborhood commercial lot that everyone in this subdivision wants to keep neighborhood commercial. Anything that's neighborhood commercial, as far as we're concerned, I don't even think we could stop it. You know, we could come here and argue, we could ask that bushes be planted or something along these lines, but this is really requesting, number one, a re-subdivision of this lot, as I understand it, and then a rezoning to permit this HC2 to push back close to our subdivision where our neighbors live. Thank God for me, I live a couple of 1,000 feet from this, or 1,000 feet from this. Maybe only 500 or 600 feet as the crow flies. But the poor people who live on the corner are going to have to contend with 70 kennels and an open dog run for the rest of the time they live in Forest Park. And I would suggest to each and every one of you, if you were confronted with this same dilemma, that you would be opposed to it, and for good reason, because who wants to live in that kind of situation? Dogs make noise.
Harold, some of the rest of us would like to speak. Some of the rest of us would like to speak.
Oh, yeah, and I'm taking up too much time. So, I mean, I think the position of the subdivision is that we are not in favor of any rezoning of the back lot from neighborhood commercial to HC. It violates the whole purpose of our subdivision. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. One question for you, sir. You spoke that the entire subdivision, what authority do you get to speak for the entire subdivision?
You know what? I'm going to hold myself out with one other attorney as being the attorney for the subdivision.
Okay.
Because when there have been problems in the past, and thank goodness we don't have too many legal issues that we have to confront, but they have come to me and I've sent letters and I've made noise and this type of thing, and
So
I've got a feeling I could get a proxy vote pretty quick.
Okay, you are counsel. I was going to say whether you're president of the homeowners board or just identifying the role.
Yeah, I'm an
Okay.
attorney who
For
lives in the neighborhood and does legal work from them from time to time.
Thank you. Just wanted to get that clarity. Yes, sir.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I am Michael Lakeen, 105 Forest Drive, Forest Park Estates, Mandeville, Louisiana. I think that Harold stated the Neighborhood Association's position fairly clearly. I would like to mention that there are a few other considerations that deserve to be offered. First, I'd like to present the board a petition signed by 67 members of the association that would request that there be no zoning changes tolerated. Next, I'd like to mention to Mr. Guidry and his group, we appreciate the progress in the removal of the building from the site today. Already there's a great improvement right there. And we did, in fact, have a very productive community meeting. That meeting resulted in the circulation of the restating of our concerns, as well as the precedents upon which we believe that a zoning change should not be tolerated. Those points were made in a letter dated March 17th to the board. I hope that everybody has a copy of this letter. It was offered through Ms. Lambert for everyone 2 weeks ago. This is the same letter that was offered Mr. Guidry, which I have to applaud once more for. Even though rather late, there was an effort to respond to our concerns. The response was not received until perhaps 2 hours ago this afternoon. Hardly enough time for the Neighborhood Association to review and digest. It did show that any of a number of the concerns on the part of the association had attempted to have been addressed, but as the previous speaker stated, there is still overwhelming concern that a zoning change is something that simply would not be tolerated right now. I would like to ask a couple of questions, if I could, of the commission and/or Mr. Guidry. At present, and I believe that you're just now seeing the revised plan yourselves for the first time. It looks like the dog park has been eliminated. Is that correct? Okay. How many dogs do we know will be housed in the facility?
In all due respect, I'm going to call a point of order at this time. You can address, we did have a community meeting, correct? Okay.
Okay.
So, in all due respect, you
Sure.
can address questions to the commission. If the commission wishes to answer those questions,
Surely.
typically the commission's the one that
I'd like-
proposes questions, but
I'd like to ask the commission to see if we couldn't verify the number of dogs that would be housed. It looks as well like the lot would be re-subdivided. It was previously re-subbed from 2 lots to a single lot. And this is a question that I believe that the association wants to investigate further, and that would be whether or not re-subdivisions can occur in the subdivision, because this is a part of the subdivision, without association approval. I think that may be something that we'd like to explore a little further.
that would be restrictive covenants or civil matter between the homeowners and whatever parcels they rely. The commission or the parish
Thank you for the
takes any
clarification.
position relative to restrictive covenants or CC&Rs.
Okay. I'll close by stating that, as previously expressed, the association at present is opposed to the re-subdivision, and that further, we've had really no chance to digest anything that's been offered to the association as recently as 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock this afternoon. Thank you very
sir.
much.
Dr. Guidry, you have 5 minutes to rebut or to
I just wanted to say, and I understand these people's concerns, but I will say this. My current facility it abuts Bo Shin. It is next to the property lines. There's no buffer. There's strictly a fence and about a 2-foot swale between my current business and the Bo Shin subdivision. And in my 26 years of running North Lake Veterinary Hospital, I have not had one complaint from the Homeowners Association of Bo Shin, and that is with zero buffer from the standpoint of odor control, noise control, and everything. All these animals are housed inside. When you let a dog out to go potty outside on a leash, you don't let 50 out at a time. There's not a big noise factor created. So with a 100-foot lot, a ditch, a road, and the buffers that we're creating, I know they may or may not believe me, but noise is not going to be an issue. It just isn't. And the people of Bo Shin in 27 years haven't filed one complaint against North Lake. So I just want to add that, and the facility that I'm adding is just a much nicer facility than what I currently have, is what it amounts to. I am busting at the seams where we are. I have 3 exam rooms, and I don't have enough room to service the clients that I have. So the boarding's going to be expanded some, but that's not the main thing. The hospital is what's being expanded. I bought this property so I could build a much nicer veterinary hospital to service my clients in the community. And it's going to be a very, very pretty hospital. I've circled the country looking at hospitals, trying to design the prettiest thing I could find. And I can promise the people of Forest Park they will be proud that that's going to be the entrance compared to what's been there before. It's going to be a beautiful facility. I'm not going to be a nuisance. My track record proves that. And I do feel that I've made a very, very big concession with regards to my lot and offer, trying to make it work for everybody. And so I'd like you guys to let me know your thoughts on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Guidry. Opposition, you have 5 minutes to rebut as well. Whomever.
How you doing? My name is Tom Boudreau. I'm at 166 Brookside Drive in Forest Park. With respect to Mr. Guidry, obviously doesn't matter who's trying to develop this property.
In all due respect, sir, address the commission. We're not having a community meeting this evening.
We're all opposed to a highway commercial property in our neighborhood. The thing that we also want to make sure that you guys understand is that this neighborhood has a lot of residents that have been there a long time, and they're going to be there a long time. So we don't know what property's coming up next and what might be imposed on our neighborhood. One question about protocol. So the original vote was going to be trying to rezone this whole property. Now there's something else being offered that we just saw a couple of hours ago. So are we going to be able to get a vote, or are we going to be discussing this amendment? What's the protocol here?
What comes in front of the commission is what is stated here, unless the petitioner wishes to amend it, coming in front of the commission. Petitioner does have that authority to amend it down. They can do that, and the commission will take that under consideration. But at this point in time, what is in front of this commission is what I read into the record.
Okay, thank you. We have a united neighborhood. We have a lot of people here today. How many people from our Forest Park group here today? So we have quite a few people that are against the zoning change.
Thank you, sir. Was anyone else? Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Harold Bartholomew. I live at 122 Forest Drive. It is my position that I'm one of the short-term residents in the neighborhood. I'm coming up on 15 years. And the problem isn't necessarily just with Dr. Guidry's office. It is what comes next. We're going to be there for the long term, and with all due respects to the doctor, his long-term idea is not the same as ours. And we don't know what comes after him, and we are opposed to the zoning change in large measure for that reason, and because of the detrimental impact that it will have on us in the future. And I just wanted to express that to ladies and gentlemen of the panel, and point out that I still believe, as I expressed at the community meeting, that he can do what he needs to do within the current zoning, and he can have a functional, very nice veterinary office. We would ask you not to change it, and I would specifically object to what I understand is the proposal before the commission that has not been formally changed to what has been presented tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to ask a question of the commission, please, and this is certainly not put forth as a proposal, but realizing that there's been an alteration made in the overall site planning, is it possible to adopt a more restrictive zoning classification on a parcel? In other words, and it looks like we're going to be, if not voting tonight, perhaps speaking further with Mr. Guidry, in exchange for some considerations with regard to his site, might we realize a more restrictive zoning on the subdivided portion at the east side of the site? In other words, where it's presently NC2, might the zoning change be amended at some point in time? And this is not a proposal, it's a question. Might it be zoned to a more restrictive zoning classification, NC1, for example?
You're asking if the commission can do that?
Yes.
That would have to be an agreement between the parties. Again, the commission, A, does not provide conditional zoning.
No.
Number one. And number two is any agreements would be made between the property owners, and then you could come in front of the commission, and the commission could
Right.
downzone if need be.
Right.
But we don't say would negotiate.
The question is, can a zoning change be promoted or offered to the commission that is a more restrictive zoning?
Which would be downzoning, going from a more intense zoning to a less intense zoning?
That is correct.
Yes, that
Okay.
can be done, and the petitioner is able to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
So,
If not at this, in all due respect,
no, that's fine.
this time, Dr. Guidry, the commission will bring it in front of the commission. So if the commission wishes to address questions with either party or any individual, they will do so. So at this time, I would close it to the public, and I will bring it to the commission. Commissioner Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, thank many of the people in the audience for coming to the community meeting. I thought it was a great dialogue, but after listening to that dialogue and looking hard at it, I came here this evening prepared to recommend denial. But what I'm seeing this evening is a little different, and I'm concerned that maybe members of the community haven't had a chance to look at it. The front part of this property, and we'll get into some questions in a minute, is already zoned HC2. He can already do what he's proposing to do on HC2. It's the rear portion that actually abuts Park Drive that's already NC2, that as I'm seeing this, you may be asking for some sort of a shifting of the line to get a little more NC2 and a little less, excuse me, a little more HC2 and a little less NC2. And staff is telling us it's somewhere between 30 and 50 feet. Now, and this is not a re-subdivision issue. This is not what we will do tonight. We don't re-subdivide. This is just a line in the sand, so to speak. Is that correct? Do you have an exact number?
I do not have an exact number because this is the first time I see this drawing, and also we don't have a formal legal description of the area that he wishes to rezone to, but according to the map that we have and what I measured earlier this morning, that's what it appears to be, but his request was to keep the portion 100 by 233 zone NC2 and to just add or shift the line as you just stated.
Dr. Guidry, do you know exactly or approximately how much that lot is right now, or not the lot of record, but the line in the sand of zoning?
And Dr. Guidry, would you come to the podium so that we can hear your response, please?
I went and met with Ms. Helen in her office, and we tried to determine that. And based on the numbers, but the caliber she was able to put on the computer, we're looking for a 30-foot move.
I understand. That's new information that the people haven't quite seen yet and digested. I'm going to allow some of the other commissioners to ask some questions, but what you're proposing this evening that we're seeing for the first time and they saw this afternoon is different than what we discussed at the meeting. I realize it came from the meeting, the community meeting. This is clearly a result of what you heard from the community.
I'm trying to understand their concerns and create that NC2 buffer that would, and they've mentioned a lot of concerns about driving on the streets and all of that, and this creates no traffic for them, and was in an effort to accommodate the concerns.
I appreciate that. One last question for staff before I allow some of the other commissioners to speak. On this map that I'm looking at here that comes in our packet, the property we're talking about here is NC2, is shaded, I don't know, light brown or whatever. The darker brown here is the current HC2. HC2 in this particular picture goes deeper on the lot next door. It goes into or closer to the subdivision. Is that correct?
Correct.
I thought it was just a straight line and we had a nice buffer. So I don't know when that occurred.
The property to the north goes further into the subdivision as far as HC2, to answer your question, correct?
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes, Mr. Guidry. After a quick review, so the initial 1 acre now is basically, you're adding half an acre for highway commercial too then?
The whole lot is basically an acre and a half.
Right.
Of which currently, I guess it's about 3/4 HC2.
Oh, so it's now, okay, I understand that. So it's not one, so we've been talking about 1 acre, so that's incorrect?
Right. The whole site is actually an acre and a half, and so I guess what we're asking is to create, the back half acre is going to be NC2 and the front acre is going to be HC2.
Because looking at this, and looking at this plot that you gave me here, it looks like you're expanding about 80 feet from the existing highway commercial to deep.
According to the maps in Helen's office, it turned out to be 30. Again, it depends on which map you see.
See, the thing is, we don't have actual platted information that we can make a logical decision. Now, 30 and 80 are two different numbers.
Right.
And you say, 1 acre, I mean, you're saying 1 acre, is it 1.5 acre, 1 acre? I mean, I'm a little confused about that.
Yeah.
Now, I do understand that this was C2 before the rezoning, but there was a reason for the rezoning, and that was to try to protect the individuals and the people living up against commercial property. I do like the idea of this current drawing of half an acre, but I'm not quite sure if that's accurate or not.
The drawing is accurate. The drawing is accurate, yes.
The drawing is accurate.
Right. If you look at the measurements, it's 100-foot wide by 233 feet wide at the street, and then it's on a little bit of an obtuse angle, so it's about 23,000 square feet, so it's actually slightly larger than half an acre.
Okay, so all right, so you realistically want to leave half of that, whatever the NC2 size is, to NC2, is what you're saying?
Correct.
In the back, with this 100-foot. Then you have an additional 10-foot side landscaping buffer, which makes it 110.
Correct.
If you want to think about it that way. I'm having a problem not knowing the exact numbers, though. That's where I'm having a problem. Do we need to postpone this and get some exact numbers first?
Well,
Staff?
the only way we could actually plot it on the map and give you the exact dimension it would require for this case to be postponed this evening.
I'll make a motion to postpone so we can get some better data.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Davis to postpone for 1 month. Second by Commissioner Randolph.
Can I also make a recommendation that once we have the information, is there some kind of way that could be publicized to the individuals in the audience? Or they can call you, or?
Absolutely, it will be part of the packet at the end of the month of April, just before the May meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Richard?
Mr. Chair, this is not related to the postponement. I have another question. Is that acceptable?
Yes.
Thank you. To the, Dr. Guidry, one of the other comments, and I think I support postponing it. I know everybody would like to get this done, but I feel like the community hasn't had an opportunity to understand this. They also brought up a potential that you consider maybe as part of a negotiation, downzoning that property from NC2 to NC1. That's purely up to you, but I would recommend that between you and your representatives in the Homeowners Association, that y'all spend a little bit more time on this. We don't need a community meeting. Y'all can have a one-on-one, and there may be an opportunity, because what we're looking at here, this is different. Again, as I said, I was coming in this evening to recommend that we deny, but I do appreciate what you've done here, and I think they need to see it. So, thank you.
Commissioner Lauren?
Yes. Real quick question. The packet that we have has the Google Earth picture on it. And it appears to me that on the property currently it looks like 2 structures. Is that correct?
Well, we had a demolition today, actually, of the building that was on the site, and then there were some big soil bins, I guess, because it was a landscaping place, and so those may appear to be a building. They're just concrete structures.
Okay, so everything that you're going in with would be brand new?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And just going back to comments of Commissioner Davis, excuse me, as we look at this Google map, it appears the parcel itself might be 1.5 acres?
Yes.
Okay. So the parcel, sake of discussion, is 1.5 acres, for which there are 2 zonings on one parcel, which is capable, or is able to occur. We do that every now and again. So if I will, on the west side, it appears, based on the way this is, or going towards the front of the property towards Causeway, that is on HC2. That is currently less than 1 acre. Okay. And then that which is into the subdivision is a little bit more than 1/2 an acre. And what is now coming in front of us appears to be that you want to move that line so that you can, again, place your building into an HC2 designation, but we're not sure exactly where that line is, whether it's 30 feet or 50 feet or something. So part of the compromise that may have come out of the community meeting was, instead of doing the whole parcel, you're shortening it or you're reducing it. But again, we don't know exactly what that is. So I think that's the question, and Commissioner Richard, of course, attended that meeting. So my impression is from the commission, again, we understand the compromise, however, we don't have definitive knowledge of what that is. And again, back to the homeowners association, it's less than you started with, but again, we don't know exactly what it is. I think that's Commissioner Davis's point. Any further questions?
I have one.
Yes.
Excuse me, Doc. That property immediately to the north of yours, on the other side of Forest,
Correct.
what is that? What kind of business is that?
There is a synagogue, and then there is a mini storage and a commercial truck rental place.
Commercial truck rent?
Makes a lot more noise than what we're going to have.
Okay, and then what's to the south of you?
To the south is an empty lot, if I'm not mistaken.
I meant a little bit further down. Is that a shopping area or something?
Yes, there's a commercial retail outlet, I think 2 lots over.
Okay. Okay.
On the service road. Is that what you're referring to?
On the service road, yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No further question, Commissioner Davis?
One last question for Mr. Guidry.
Yes, sir.
Are you intending on living close to this area?
I live in Bush, Louisiana right now.
Because, you know, I was going to say, you could take that remaining NC2, make it A3, and then build your house there. Just an idea. You could still make it A3 if you wanted to, and that way people would know that you have a home.
If I brought my chickens and my goats, I don't think they'd care for that, so.
No, you're right. Never mind.
At this time, we have a motion by Commissioner Davis to postpone for 1 month, second by Commissioner Randolph. Please vote. Motion carries. Again, we will give the public a few moments to leave, if many of you are. We're going to resume. 2017-563-ZC, existing zoning A6, multiple family residential district, proposed zoning A4A, single family residential district. The parcel, 8,306 square feet. The petitioner, Scott Martin. The owner, Scott Martin. The parcel is located on the north side of Lakeview Drive, east of US Highway 11, being Lot 55, Eden Isles Subdivision, 240 Lakeview Drive, Slidell, Ward 9, District 13. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan calls for the area to be developed with residential uses. Staff has no objection to the request. Staff recommends that the request for A4A single-family residential be approved.
Thank you. Is the petitioner here?
Scott Martin,
Your address, sir?
124 Lighthouse Point Drive, Slidell, Louisiana.
Thank you. And the reason for the request?
I'd like to build a personal home there.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Lauren.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lauren to approve, second by Commissioner Randolph. Any further comments? Commissioner Dougherty.
Just, I like to see Lakeview Drive being revitalized. And I know it's going to cost the property owners quite a bit to put something out in the water and all this, but I like the zoning change and everything, and glad to see it going from multifamily to single family. Thank you.
Thank you. My neighbor's also here, which that's exactly what we're looking to do, is revitalize the area.
Thank you. Again, we have a motion by Commissioner Lauren to approve, second by Commissioner Randolph. Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
2017-567-ZC, existing zoning, A2 Suburban District, proposed zoning, PF1 Public Facilities District. The parcel, 4 acres. Petitioner, St. Tammany Parish Council motion. The owner, Donald Lambert, Lambert Investments Incorporated. Parcel is located on the north side of Harrison Avenue, west of Flowers Drive, Ward 2, District 3. Staff?
I'd like to invite the commissioners to look at the attached zoning map. And as you can see here, this is some L-shaped property. Basically, the request is to rezone to PF1, and it's to add to the parcel that is to the west of it that is already rezoned PF1 to make it a larger parcel for future development of uses that are listed under PF1, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Mr. Shane?
Good evening again. Sorry about my voice. Jeff Shane of Jones Fussell, law firm in Covington at P.O. Box 1810. As staff has noted, this case is a cousin, if you will, to zoning that this commission recommended to the council a few months ago. This is in connection with a series of donations being made by a private concern to the St. Tammany Humane Society for a pet park and pet cemetery, which requires PF1 zoning. The initial grant of land was approximately 7 acres. The additional lands that have been procured by the private concern are another 4 acres, thereby making a total of 11. So as staff has recommended, we urge you to recommend to the council that this property be zoned PF1. If any of you have any questions, I'll be glad to address them.
Thank you, Mr. Shane. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Willie.
Yeah, that looks good to me. I'll move for approval.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Willie to approve, second by Commissioner Davis. Any further comments? Please vote. Motion carries. Get that throat taken care of, Mr. Shane. 2017-569-ZC, existing zoning, A1 Suburban District. Proposed zoning, A2 Suburban District. Parcel 12.03 acres. The petitioner, William Blosher. The owner, William and Patricia Blosher. The parcel is located on the east side of Gotchak Road, south of Breen Road, being 10121 Gotchak Road, Covington, Ward 1, District 3. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plans calls for the area to be developed with residential uses at a similar density with the surrounding area. Staff feels there is no compelling reason to recommend approval since the area is surrounded by undeveloped land and large parcels developed with residential uses. Staff recommends that the request for A2 Suburban District be denied.
Thank you. Is the petitioner here?
Yes.
If you come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, sir.
William Blocher, 75331 Hoover Road, Covington.
And the reason for the request, sir?
I want to give a couple of acres to each one of my kids and let them build on it. This property comes out on Gottschalk Road and backs up to my property on Hoover. And it's just a vacant piece of property with a derelict house on it right now. I wanted to clean it up and let both of my kids build on it, not for sale. I mean, just to keep the family all together. We tried to go to, we went to A2 because I'm limited on street frontage. We only have 396 feet on the street. I need 400 to go to A1A, which would give me 200 feet each. So I'm like 7 feet short. 7 feet short of a 200-foot each for each one of them on street frontage. Now, A2 was 1 acre. I was going to give them either 2 or 3 acres each. If we can excuse that, actually would be 3.5 feet on each lot. To go to an A1A, they can have 3 acres. Because the property's not going to be sold. I guess when I check out, they may sell mine, but I seriously doubt that too.
He got all kind of furniture and stuff.
But this is only done for family. It's not done to do anything else with it.
I got a question for staff, please. Couldn't we zone this A1A and give them a variance of that 300-foot road frontage?
Well, it's 200-foot road frontage.
Well,
I would be like 3.5 feet short to give each child 200 feet on the road. That's why we tried the A2, because we would have only had, I could give them 196 each, 196 and a half each.
how many children do you have?
2.
2? Couldn't we
We
split
don't plan to
this
have no more
A1A
either.
4 lots and give each child 2 lots?
Well, I'll do a 3-acre piece, give them each 3 acres, but it's going to be on each side, and that have entrance to Gottschalk Road. That would be 6. The 6 in the back, I'm going to tie to my property. And we have no intentions of ever selling the property.
When the owner comes in front of the zoning, the planning commission, he will have to request a variance of 6 feet.
Can we have the owner now change the zoning to A1A and ask for the variance now?
No, sir, you will have to come in front of the planning commission and formally
that's
make
right.
his request.
Okay, are we able to have the owner request A1A tonight without?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the owner wishes to amend his petition.
Right, so that the owner understands it would be a 2-part process, that you could come before the zoning commission and request A1A.
Right.
Okay, and if the commission so votes, could grant it. At the time, then when they would build.
We're not in a rush. I have one selling a house now. They both have houses, so
Okay, because at the
they're not living
time,
with me. But one of them has a house she's selling, the other one is going to sell his whenever we're ready.
they would have to come and get a variance granted because, again, because of the requirements that an A1A would require, but they could come back and ask for a variance be granted so that you wouldn't need is it 300 feet, 400 feet?
It would be 200 feet each.
Yeah.
Right, but what is the requirement currently
For A1A.
for A1A?
I'm pulling it up as we speak, but it will require him to go through an additional public hearing and go in front of the planning commission when he goes through the minor subdivision process.
Yeah, that was well, we already had a date for June to do that if they had approved this today.
Okay.
The minimum lot width is 200 feet, so
So
he's a
you
little
have to get a
short.
variance for 4 feet.
So you would have to go and come, submit his minor subdivision application, go in front of the planning commission, and request a variance while he goes through the minor subdivision process.
Commissioner Davis, you addressed this initially. What are your
I think what we should do is go ahead and request the owner to go ahead and change the zoning to A1A, and I'll make a motion to approve that.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all right.
Before we,
Then you'll have to come to the planning commission, which is us too.
And
ask-
that would be
and ask
when,
for-
next month?
That's when you ask for the variance.
No,
Okay,
it's gonna, yeah. Go ahead, Helen.
Helen,
But it first has to go back to the council. So introduction next month and final vote will be in June. And if the council vote in favor of A1A, then it will be able to be placed on the next planning meeting to request. So it should be sometime probably in August.
Right.
Or-
So it's
You're
gonna
probably
take a
looking
little
at 90
while, but
days.
that's the process they go, I think, to meet your needs and to meet the needs of the zoning commission, because obviously we don't want to have 1 acre lots out
right,
there.
right, I know that.
So that, to me, that's what I would do.
Okay. So what do I do now? I go back and file
You-
another
you-
application, go back to you?
no. What you will do is, what has come in front of us is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you now have requested an A1A zoning on this as the petitioner.
Okay,
And that motion has been moved by Commissioner Davis and second by Commissioner Willie.
okay. So we're done. It's A1,
No.
No.
No, we just, that's the process,
okay.
okay? And you're in agreement with the A1A request?
I'm in agreement with it.
Okay, very good. At this time, we have no further comments or questions of the commission. Please vote. Motion carries. So you now, what will happen next is this will go in front of the council with a recommendation of the zoning commission that they rezone it A1A.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
And then, as Helen had stated, once they, if the council were to approve that, then you will begin the planning part, come back in front of the planning commission, ask for the variance.
And it'd be a minor subdivision, Helen?
I'll call you tomorrow.
Helen, that would be a minor subdivision at that point? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Call Helen tomorrow.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. 2017-570-ZC, existing zoning, A6 multiple family residential district, proposed zoning, A4A single family residential. The parcel 13,300 square feet. The petitioner, Jimmy and Connie Adcock. The owner, Jimmy and Connie Adcock. The parcel is located on the north side of Lakeview Drive, east of US Highway 11, being Lot 54, Eden Isles subdivision, 238 Lakeview Drive, Slidell, Ward 9, District 13. District 13, there was a typo, it showed 3. For the record, it should be 13. Staff.
The 2025 future land use plan calls for the area to be developed with residential uses. Staff has no objection to the request. Staff recommends that the request for A4A single-family residential be approved.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Jimmy and Connie Adcock, 49 Longbow Drive, Picayune, Mississippi.
Thank you. And the reason for your request?
We wish to move to Slidell and build a single-family residence.
Very good. Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor? Ms. Connie, care to speak in favor?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none at this time, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Dougherty.
Yes. Again, Mr. Martin had a similar proposal before us, and I'd like to thank you for coming before us and going from the multifamily to a single family. That's going to be a beautiful piece of property out there when it gets all rebuilt and everything, and I'd move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dougherty to approve, second by Commissioner Randolph. Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, another question. Do you know the Martins?
Yeah, we,
Excellent.
right next door.
I think he was the one who referenced them as their next.
Yes.
Was that correct? Okay, good. All right. I like that, the Lakefront Development District. That's wonderful.
Yes.
That's wonderful. At this time, again, we have a motion by Commissioner Dougherty to approve, second by Commissioner Randolph. Please vote. Motion carries.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
I've been told it might take as long as June 1st before we could get approved to start building or anything. Is there any way to fast-track this, or what is our next step?
The next step, it'll go in front of the council. It'll get on their agenda. You're in District 13. You may want to speak to Councilwoman Michelle Blanchard as your councilwoman, and Councilwoman Blanchard can walk you through that process.
All right, we just don't want to go into the hurricane season, and we were hoping to get it a little quicker, but, okay.
They have final, we're a commission of recommendation. They have the final approval.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. (2017-571-ZC), existing zoning, A2 Suburban District, proposed zoning, A2 Suburban District and rural overlay, parcel 5 acres. The petitioner, Richard V. Mistrat Jr., the owner, Richard V. Mistrat Jr. The parcel is located on the west side of Pinewood Drive, north of Hickory Drive, Ward 6, District 11. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan calls for the area to be developed with residential uses. Staff does not have any objection to the requested zoning change, considering the rural character of the area. Staff recommends that the request for an RO rural overlay designation be approved.
Thank you. Yes, sir. State your name and address for the record.
Richard Mistro, 445 Pinecone Lane.
And the reason for your request, sir?
Well, what I want to do is, it's going to be my retirement home, and I want to build my barn before I build the house, so because I have equipment, and I got it piled up everywhere. It's in friends' houses and stuff. I'd like to get all my stuff to one spot so I can start clearing area, you know. And there's a pond there. I need to clean the pond out and stuff like that. And it's going to take me a few years to get it cleaned up before I can build me a house out there.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Randolph.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Randolph to approve, second by Commissioner Dougherty. Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
2017-581-ZC, existing zoning, A2 Suburban District, proposed zoning, A2 Suburban District with manufactured housing overlay. The parcel, 2.31 acres. The petitioner, Amber Penton, the owner, Amber Penton. Parcel's located on the north side of Dummy Line Road, east of Preacher Kennedy Road, being 37264 Dummy Line Road, Pearl River, Ward 6, District 11. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan calls for the area to be developed with residential uses, including manufactured homes. Staff does not have any objection to the request. Staff recommends the request for a manufactured housing overlay be approved.
Thank you. Is the petitioner here? Yes, ma'am. Please come to the podium, speak. Tell us your name and address, and you can pull that microphone down.
Amber Penton, 316 Oriole Drive, Slaughter, Louisiana.
And the reason for the request, ma'am?
I just bought the property, and I just want to put I want to have the option to put a mobile home on it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public, bring it to the commission. Commissioner Davis.
Amber? Yes, sir. Is there something located on this property now?
Tell me again.
A building or something on
There's
this?
actually 2 houses on that property. One was built, I have no clue. The people I bought the property from had it from 1960. There's one that's already fell down, and there's another one that was damaged in Katrina.
Okay.
I've started cleaning the property. I haven't tore down the second house, but they will both be gone.
Okay, and you're just going to put one
double wide.
One double wide?
Mm-hmm.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Davis to approve, second by Commissioner Randolph. Any further questions? Commissioner Lauren.
Question for the staff. How many dummy line roads do we have in St. Tammany Parish? 2? Okay.
that north and south, east and west, high and low? We have a motion by Commissioner Davis to approve, second by Commissioner Randolph. Please vote. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Let's see where we are. Old business, 2016-386-ZC, existing zoning, A3 Suburban District. Proposed zoning, I3 Heavy Industrial District. The parcel, 2.928 acres. The petitioner, Michael Breeding. The owner, Venora M. Galatis. The parcel is located in the east of Sloat Road along Bayou Bonfuca, Ward 9, District 12. Staff?
This case was in front of you in October 2016, and it was referred back to zoning from the council. The staff additionally had no objection to the requested zoning change, as the current zoning is compatible with the surrounding land use and the objective of the future land use plan. However, in referring the case back to the commission, the parish councilman requested that the staff reevaluate the proposal based upon the zoning of not only the unincorporated side of Bayou Bonfuca, but also the industrial classifications of those properties across the bayou, which are within the city of Slidell. The property located within the city of Slidell is Zone M1 Planned Industrial District and appears to be limited to the assembly of cranes. The remainder of the property is Zone M2 and permits the following uses that are listed here. It appears that the city M2 designation falls between the parish I1 and I2 zoning districts, with some of the permitted use I2 manufacturing uses allowed and some of the more intense manufacturing uses especially prohibited. It also specifically prohibits many of the uses that would be permitted if the request I3 district would be approved. At this time, staff recommends denial of the I3 request, but feels that the existing single-family residential district is equally inappropriate. We would have no objection to the commission considering I1 or I2 designation for the subject property.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
Michael Breeding, Breeding Realty Company, P.O. Box 396, Slidell, Louisiana.
And the reason for your request, sir?
The owners of the property wish to try to market the property, and with a single-family residential zoning, that would be next to impossible, you know. We came here 6 months ago. Y'all approved the I3. We are joined by I3, I2, industrial across the bayou, okay? We asked that no less than I2 for the property. Okay.
And just, we made a recommendation to the council, and the council denied it, or the council asked for it to be brought back, correct? Okay. So you stated that you requested I3.
Which y'all approved 6 months ago.
Again, we recommended it to the council. Right. And now they've come back, and you said that you would like no less than I2.
We'd like I3, but no less than I2.
Okay. So would you be willing to put forth to the commission an I2?
Yes.
You would?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Yes, sir.
Eric London, I'm a planner with the City of Slidell, 22055 2nd Street, Slidell, Louisiana. I am here on behalf of the mayor and the city council on this issue. We object to the initial I3 designation. We felt that it was incompatible with what we see as the decreased industrial use of Bayou Bonfuca. You know, we still have 2 Superfund sites being cleaned up from our prior historical use of industry along that border boundary. We do acknowledge, though, and we still do have industry along that area, and we do believe that the I2 designation would be more suitable for the continuation in the future of both cleaning up the bayou, but also making good use of it for commerce. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Breeding, do you have any further comment?
No.
Okay. Any further comment from the Slidell City Planning? Thank you. Okay, at this time, we'll close it to the public. and we'll bring it to the commission. And again, just for clarification, Mr. Breeding, you have consent that you would accept an I-2 rezoning.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis.
I'll make a motion to approve I-2 zoning for this area.
A motion by Commissioner Davis to approve an I-2 zoning for this, second by Commissioner Willie. Commissioner Dougherty.
To my fellow commissioners, I honestly believe the I-2 is too intense for that area. And Mr. Breeding, you're not willing to even consider the I-1.
No,
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we'll see where the motion goes, but I really believe this should stay no more intense than an I-1, so.
Well,
Pardon?
we have I-3 joining us on the north side, I-2 on the south side. I can't understand the logic in that, okay?
Well, Mr. Breeding, in all due respect, Commissioner Dougherty addressed the commissioners as to his opinion. So I respectfully ask that unless he specifically addresses you. So again, Commissioner Dougherty, you feel an I-1 is more appropriate? Okay.
Yeah, but you got a motion on the floor for I-2.
Correct.
And it's the
Yeah,
second,
we will vote on that, and and just to clarify, speaking on behalf of the city of Slidell and planning, you felt that I-2 is appropriate, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, one of the challenges always with two jurisdictions that abut each other is our zoning districts never actually match each other in style and permitted uses or prohibited or conditional uses. We've looked at the I-1, and of course, we'd like to de-intensify the bayou as much as possible, but in fairness sake, I-1 allows, our zoning right across the bayou allows a lot more than would be allowed in I-1, and we think that to be fair and be consistent within that area, not just for the city properties, because if we do this and we have to, maybe next time that zoning requirement come our way and someone wants us to de-intensify, we've consistently zoned M2 and planned industrial there, and we think that I-1 would be much less intense allowable than what we would allow right across the bayou. So I leave it to you all to decide if you want to lead us or join together, or not join together, but if you want to lead us to less intensity, I'm sure we'd like to follow in the future, but right now we zoned as is.
Thank you. Any further comments of the commission? If not, we have a motion by Commissioner Davis to approve I-2, second by Commissioner Willie. Please vote. Motion carries. Any new business to come before the commission? Not, accept the motion to adjourn.